Hey, everybody, welcome back to another edition of the Consistency Show here. Fantasy football consistency. We're talking wide receiver ones. Who are the best of the best? You know who they are. We're going to tell you why we may have some ranked a little bit higher due to consistency than what you might have them. And it's coming up next. Rock on, Garth. Good to be back. We see a familiar face from a few weeks ago. And yes, that is Yukon Cornelius from the show Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Good to have you back, Yukon. How you been, Ron?
Good to be here. I don't know how much of the audience is going to get that Party On reference. I actually showed. It's funny you say that. I actually showed Wayne's World to my kids the other day, and they actually dug it a little bit. Believe it or not, you show some of those movies that you love that have that nostalgia factor, and they're just kind of like, eh. But they thought that one was pretty cool. But yeah, a little 2-week hiatus. Good to be back. So let's talk about these wide receivers, shall we?
All right, James. Good to have you back. He's been here toting the line with me as we've been plowing through the running back situations there, and I think there's a lot of good value as we talked about in the RB2s, and I think those will continue to be there for most of the summer. I mean, I'm still doing some drafts, and I'm still seeing guys pretty much in the same spots. So I was just telling Ron I'm in a draft, NFFC draft, but it's Razball. It's called the Raz Bowl. I've been in it for a number of years. Best ball. Everybody gets a bunch of people are in it. And so I'm pick 7, and it's just everything's kind of there's nothing fancy. There's no tight end premiums, no special anything. Just your 1, 2, 3 ones. And I'm going. So the 7th pick, I went McCaffrey, Drake London, Lamar Jackson, just for fun. I hadn't picked a quarterback that early yet. Then Marvin Harrison, and then Travis Kelce. So kind of a fun one. Just decided to change it up a little bit, see what my team would look like if I took Jackson in the 3rd round or a quarterback in the 3rd round. So guys, as we get into the wide receivers here, the wide receiver ones, this is your top 12 in your standard 12-team league. Of course, the top 3 is this. It's Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson. You can split it up however you want. You can change the order however you want, but those are the big 3. There's others that are close, but these are it. Ron, I'm going to start with you. Do you have a different order, and why?
No, I mean, I think pretty standard across the board. You got to have Chase there. T. Higgins opposite him, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's one of our favorite quarterbacks as well. And then Lamb, and all these guys too are heavily dependent on those QBs. And so I think that's what makes Justin Jefferson 3rd. It's not the question his talent. It's just we don't know exactly what we're getting out of J.J. McCarthy. And I think J.J. McCarthy has all the tools to be successful. He's got a great head coach that, knows the position. You saw what he did with Sam Darnold last year. But I think, again, you're kind of splitting hairs here. But I think that's the way that I'm going to have him in that same order that we have them, our top 3.
James, what about you? Same order? You got a little different?
Pretty much the same order, but I'm in on the Justin Jefferson thing. I don't care. I don't care who throws the ball to him.
Yeah.
My preference is I'll take him over Lamb or even Chase at that point. But again, splitting hairs. You're talking about the guys that for the last 3 years have been the number one receiver each of the last 3 years, right?
Yeah,
so
right.
If any of them do it, it wouldn't surprise me. So any league I'm in, it's up to you on who you like there.
And that's why we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about how great they are, because we all know how great they are. So what's the point? So we're going to really focus on these number 4s through number 12s on the Big Guy Fantasy Sports rankings and the consistency guide as well. So I'll read through them, and then we'll kind of go from there. So number 4, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Number 5, Puka Nacua. Number 6, Malik Neighbors. Number 7, A.J. Brown. Number 8, Nico Collins. Number 9, Drake London. Did I skip one? Nope. Did I say Garrett Wilson at 9, Drake London at 10, Brian Thomas at 11, Devante Adams at 12. That one may be the one to make shock a few people. So guys, let's get it started. Number 4, Amon-Ra St. Brown. This guy is just the epitome of consistency. I mean, every year he just gets it done. He is certainly the favorite of Jared Goff. If you don't believe that, just watch the quarterback show that's on Netflix right now, and just that's all he talks about is how great each other. There's a lot of sunshine. What are your thoughts on Amon-Ra? Is there any change? Are we concerned? They did lose a few offensive linemen that certainly gave a little bit more steadfastness to the protection there, but this team is just so loaded. Do you guys have any other thoughts on Amon-Ra St. Brown? James, we'll go to you first on that one.
It's just like you said. He's about as consistent as you can get. He's come in and just taken that throne of PPR king of I'm going to get 140 plus targets every year. I'm going to catch 100 passes every year and do that. If I had to say there's any kind of wart in his game, which kind of scares me a little bit, a lot of people might talk about Jamison Williams getting more targets, Sam Laporta getting more targets, doing that. It's the fact of, do I want to bank on him getting 10 plus touchdowns? I don't know if I do or don't. Like you said, that offense is so loaded and he's so talented. You can't drop him much further than, that first, second tier of wide receivers on the fact that he's going to get a ton of volume. He's got extremely sticky hands, and they've shown that they love him there, and there's no reason not to keep feeding him,
I hear you. Ron, your thoughts on Amon-Ra? Does
No,
the sun god provide sunshine for you?
he did last year. I think he was my first pick in the Kings Classic last year, and a couple things. Again, it's not enough to scare me off from him, but we talked about those home road splits of Jared Goff, so it's something you might want to look at a little bit. And when I look at yards per game, last year dropped by about 20 yards per game, was a little more the year before, but he still had 141 targets, 115 grabs. It's hard to argue with what he does. I mean, he puts up the numbers. He's going to get over 1,000 yards. He's probably going to have 10 touchdowns as long as he's healthy, and he's definitely going to go over 100 grabs because he is definitely the lead dog in that pass offense. And there's going to be enough left even after they hand the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery and whoever else they hand it to. So no, not much of an argument here. I think he's ranked pretty fair at 4.
Yeah, I mean, last 3 seasons, for those of you keeping track at home, St. Brown total points, 3rd, 7th, consistency, 7th, 3rd, 10th. And that was the 10th was 3 years ago when he was, kind of just getting into the realm there of being a starter. And then, 94%, 82 last year, dropped a little bit, but that offense is just so good. You have to love them. All right, let's go to number 5. Puka Nacua. James, I'll let you start with Puka. What are your thoughts on him? And where do you feel? Do you feel this is a good spot, a little high, a little low?
Puka is one of those guys that is in the same vein for me as Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's going to get a ton of targets. You know what he does in the offense, and not only that, they decided that he was so good they were going to let Cooper Kupp walk, And I mean, they brought Devante Adams in, and that's great and all, but they were like, we don't mind. Nacua came out of nowhere, works hard, it's almost a guaranteed lock for 100 receptions a year. He's going to see 120, 130, 140 targets a year, and that's even with Kupp, who was dominating targets, other players on that team. And one of the biggest things about that is Stafford is in that McVay offense. That McVay offense likes to basically pass first, get first downs, get easy yardage on first down. With Nacua, though, my biggest concern is, like I said, bringing Adams in over Kupp. Kupp was a favorite target for Stafford, but I think Adams is one of those guys that is a red zone target that could steal some quality touches away from Nacua. He's somewhere in that second tier for me. I'm not sure I have him this high, though.
Ron?
So when you look at, again, love the Adams ad, and I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit later on, but when you look at what this guy's done, 160 targets as a rookie. Last year did miss a little bit of time with injury, but still in those 11 games had 106 targets, 79 grabs. And so when you look at that catch percentage, that's what I kind of look at when you look at a young guy, year 2, year 3, that catch percentage went up by 10%. So that means he's better at running routes. He's reading defenses. He's getting open a little bit more frequently for that offense. Looks like he's got a clean bill of health coming into the season. And, when you look at that offense, that pass offense, when you look past Devante Adams, when you look past Puka Nacua, there's not a whole hell of a lot there that is consistent. And so those two guys are going to be the target hogs. And I think it's going to be more of the same for Nacua. He's going to get, as long as he's healthy, should get right up around that 150, 160 target mark again.
Yeah, as you talked about, he missed basically, he's shut down in week 2, missed the next 6 games. But from week 8 on, so his last 10 games, he was second in total points and had a 90% consistency. So he was right back, he didn't start slow. He came back and just had the foot to the pedal, pedal to the metal. And so I think that just leaves this so much open for him. Having Adams on the other side means that, a slowed down Cooper Kupp, they can't focus on just Nacua. They've got to focus on both. And then you've got a decent run game in Kyron Williams as well. So, there's a lot to like that. Stafford's very good at the, I just went brain dead. Jeez.
I mean, you have to remember, what was it? Late in the season, he had that 1 week with 40, 41 points. It would have been hands down the best week of the season. Except for Jamar Chase decided to throw up 45 that week. So,
Yeah. So the word I was looking for was play action passes. That's what Stafford's really good at. And when Williams is running the ball well, that certainly freezes those linebackers and definitely makes a big difference. So, all right. So we move on. So just for people to kind of get a thing, I'm looking at the NFFC ADPs. Nacua is actually pick 10 overall, pick number 6 at wide receiver. The guy who is at number 4 ADP wise is this next guy that we have on the list. And that is one Malik Neighbors, who just came in, didn't care who was throwing the ball, whether it was Danny Dimes, Joey Cutlets, or whatever else they told. What was it? The Joey Cutlets?
Cutlets.
Tommy?
Tommy DeVito, right?
Tommy. Hey, Tommy. Hey, how you doing? Tommy came in, he threw some cutlets. And Malik Neighbors still caught him. This guy's obviously quarterback proof. Now they've got Russell Wilson, and maybe Jameis Winston will fill in. Won't that be fun? Russell Wilson's at least a serviceable quarterback. Whether or not, we'll see how he does. But obviously, Neighbors is going to get the ball a tremendous amount of times. Ron, do you like Neighbors at this spot? Are you still a little concerned that maybe Russell Wilson is not as good as Danny Jones? I mean, is that possible? I mean, he's getting up there in years. Yeah. Does he have the arm strength? Does he move around enough to make things a little bit easier for Malik Neighbors this year? Or what are your thoughts?
I mean, I guess I don't dislike Neighbors here. I mean, I don't dislike the player. Absolutely. From LSU, that wide receiver factor that they have, and, did it with kind of, like you said, that revolving door at quarterback last year. And I think it would be a little bit more fantasy friendly if we saw Jameis Winston in there just chucking it everywhere. But, we saw how it ended for Russell Wilson in Denver and then on to Pittsburgh, and it just hasn't been great for him the last few years. But we've seen some signs. I mean, we've seen a little bit of consistency here and there, but the quarterback situation really, I don't want to say it scares me away, but I don't love it. And I don't know that if I'm looking at Neighbors and maybe, a couple guys around this neighborhood, I don't know that I might just pass over Mr. Neighbors.
Yeah, it won't be a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Thank you. I'll be here all week. Try the veal. James, your thoughts on Malik Neighbors? Are you in? Are you out? Especially at such an early ADP. I mean, again, pick 7, 4th receiver. Do you have enough faith in Malik Neighbors that you'd pick him over? People have. I'm not saying you will, but are you picking him ahead of St. Brown and Nacua and some of these other guys we've already talked about?
I mean, that's all right. You're reading my mind, because yes, I would.
Okay.
Malik Neighbors had 170 targets last year with the backup high school quarterbacks throwing it to him. He played 15 games. He was a rookie, had all the rookie ups and downs, did all that stuff. Still averaged over 18 points a game. So we're saying right now the worst case scenario for him is that Russell Wilson is the quarterback. Right. When Russell Wilson started in Denver, Courtland Sutton had 10 receiving touchdowns. They're not going to throw to anybody else but Neighbors. I mean, maybe Wan'Dale Robinson gets targeted 170 times for, 600 yards. But on the other side of that, it's Malik Neighbors. It's the Malik Neighbors show. He has shown that in double coverage, triple coverage, bad quarterbacks, whoever it is, he's going to put up numbers. And I think Ron hit on it. Coming from the wide receiver LSU like that, he is cut from that same cloth as Chase and Jefferson. And I think it'd be a shock if we don't see him in that same tier next year, right there with those guys talking about potential wide receiver one. My biggest difference, and that's what I was saying about the guys ahead of him, Amon-Ra and Puka. Both of those guys are PPR monsters and do certain things. Well, Neighbors combines that PPR target goodness of 160, 170 targets with this explosive, crazy nonsense of the Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. And like you said, Bob, he's quarterback proof. And if Russell Wilson's the worst that he's got thrown to him, I think he's going to be all right.
Yeah, like I said, he was third in consistency, even though he missed a couple games, which is why he ended up sixth in total points. His X consistency was also third. That just tells you that he's right there with them. He put up the numbers that he needed to put up. Obviously, he missed a couple games. That's always a concern with any wide receiver is injuries, but it is what it is. Everybody has that problem. But yeah, it's hard not to like him. I think I just have him six because I'm just like I know when I'm getting the same Brown because he's done it 3 years in a row.
The other guys we're talking about, like you said, they've been on stacked offenses. They've got other guys taking attention away. Everybody knew Neighbors was going to, get the ball.
He still can stop
it.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So no, good, fair points. Love it, love it. Let's move on to the next guy, number 7 on the list, and it's AJ Brown. And so in NFFC ADP. He's going at pick number 15. 17. Looking at the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spot. I've got him at 7, and it's really just because last year he missed 4 games, hence why he was 20th in total points. But he was still 85% consistent in the games he played, which ranked him 4th. He was 10th the year before in consistency, 7th. I just can't move him down past London and Collins and McConkey and somebody, and these kind of folks. Saquon was great and they didn't have to throw as much, but still getting that kind of consistency, even with that, it's hard for me not to put him at that spot at number 7. James, let's go to you. Are you good with AJ Brown in the top 12, let alone 7th? Because I know some people were like, that team isn't going to throw. They don't need to. Saquon's a god, blah, 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 blah. What are your thoughts on AJ Brown as you head into this year? Where do you think you'll pick him at?
And, I look at A.J. Brown and I think about that. The first thing that jumps to mind, like you said, is the volume. Is he going to get volume? Or do they even need to pass? Do they do that? But at the same time, it's A.J. Brown. And if he gets volume, he's capable of being wide receiver 1 probably because of just the numbers. I mean, back when he was getting 140 targets a year, he was putting up close to 1,500 yards. So now he's getting around 100. He's still putting up 1,100 yards, capable of double-digit touchdowns every single year, in an offense that is predicated to the run. So they're afraid of this, not stacking the box. And if A.J. Brown gets better coverage, the efficiency numbers go up. Do I want him to have more targets? Absolutely. And especially if I'm drafting him in the early second. But at the same time, you can't argue with what he does every year, and he's on a great offense.
Before I get to Ron, I have to say that if A.J. Brown doesn't get enough targets, he'll tell the entire sidelines about it and the crowd that can listen. Because we saw last year when he started off a little slow and it got real on the sidelines. And guess what happened? Magically, A.J. Brown got a lot more targets. So we don't even have to worry about whether A.J. gets enough because he'll make sure that it happens. Ron?
He will definitely advocate for every owner that has him in fantasy. That's for sure. Yes. We won't have to do anything. He's got our back. So yeah, it's not much left to add. I mean, you know what you're getting with him. And you look over the course of his career, he's been over 1,000 yards every season except one. Like James talked about, those 2 seasons where he put up nearly 1,500 yards. The amount of targets he had is ridiculous. Devontae Smith is there, but Devontae Smith is not the guy that A.J. Brown is. Dude's a physical presence, just gets it done on the outside. And again, he hit it right on the head too when he said that, they may not even need to throw, and he's still going to put up numbers. So me personally, my track record with A.J. Brown, when I had pulled the trigger on him in the first or second round, wherever I picked him at, he's come through for me every time. It'll be nice to see him get back to those ways of him not missing games those 2 seasons as well. Only missed one game across those 2 years, missed a handful last year. But if we can get a healthy A.J. Brown, there's no reason he can't be top 2, top 3 as far as consistency when we get done with this whole thing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, Devontae Smith needs to stay on the field too. And they both missed a number of games last year, which is another reason why, again, total points weren't there for either one of them. Next on the list at number 8 is one Nico Collins. Nico, 5th in consistency, 83%, but he missed 5 games. The year before, he missed 2 games. The year before that, he missed 7 games. Nico's great when he's on the field, but it's starting to not. This is the only reason I have him where I have him, because, again, he was 5th in consistency. Even 8, I was kind of like, but I leave him there because he's all they got. Stephon Diggs moved on, didn't do much. I mean, he was great. Stephon Diggs was great when he was on the field and then got hurt. So now they have Christian Kirk as number 2. I like him. I think he certainly is going to be the target hog. He's going to be like the Malik Neighbors for C.J. Stroud, obviously. So based on that alone, if he stays healthy, he's going to be worth it. It's just a question of when you get to that spot where you've got a choice between A.J. Brown, Drake London, Nico Collins, Garrett Wilson, Brian Thomas. I always kind of go, okay, well, I've got Collins a little bit farther down because I like the other guys. Again, proven consistency, proven health. Ron, your thoughts on Nico Collins, and where are you at with him this year? Are you in, you out, or are you just kind of, it depends on where he falls?
I'm all in. Like Nico
Okay.
Collins a lot. Wrote about C.J. Stroud last week when I did my last quarterback comparison here, and I think that offense has potential to just put numbers up this year. C.J. Stroud came on as a rookie, super inconsistent last year. I feel like it's, you kind of talked about the rest of the wide receiver room. I feel a little better about it than you do, I think. I like Christian Kirk as a 2. I don't know when we're getting Tank Dell back. But when you just kind of go down that line, they got some guys that can kind of fill in. John Mechie III is an Alabama guy they got a few years ago, dealt with some injuries. I just feel like, they've got some pieces there. The thing I don't have a lot of confidence in is the health status of that run game. Joe Mixon hurt his foot last year. Mm-hmm. He's not practiced a whole lot from what I'm seeing. They brought in Nick Chubb, who's coming off a devastating injury. Is there something left in the tank there? I think there could be. But when you look at those top 2 guys, they have a workhorse pass. But when you look at them right now, a lot of question marks in that run game. And I think they may just have to throw a lot out of necessity. Now, you did talk about the injury history. I get it. Nico Collins is a big target. Dude can move the chains. Dude can catch the ball downfield. He's an absolute physical freak. I just feel really good about it. And if he stays healthy, man, he's going to be putting up some numbers. But Nico Collins, I especially like definitely at this spot. I might take him over a couple of these other guys that we talked about as well.
All right. Fair enough. James, your thoughts on Nico Collins?
Ron pretty much touched on it too, and I wrote on Nico Collins too. I even called him like one of my guys. You know what I mean? Because
there you go.
If he stays healthy, man, he is legit. Matt Harmon wrote a perception on him. He gets open on every route. He does things, and he even did so much for us guys who've been playing fantasy football for so long that he waited for the 3rd-year wide receiver breakout. You know what I mean? We're not even getting that anymore. We don't get that anymore. And right. Nico actually hit that. And, last year, Nico Collins in points per game averaged 17, close to 18 points per game. His actual average matched CeeDee Lamb from last year. Mm. And, like you said, if we ever get a healthy season out of him, it kind of feels like the old Keenan Allen things where he missed a bunch of games, and then all of a sudden one year he played a full slate, and they were like, he got 160 targets and 120 catches, and things went crazy. Nico Collins could be that guy in Houston. If Stroud has that rebound year, the running game kind of falls down a little bit, they start throwing a lot, Collins is going to get hyper-targeted, and he is that type of guy, just like kind of Neighbors. He could jump those PPR guys, those 100 reception guys, with huge explosive plays, and he could contend for wide receiver 1 overall, I believe.
Yeah, no, love that. And like you said, the run game is going to be questionable. We don't know what Mixon's scenario is. We don't know if Chubb is 70%, 60%. We don't know. But it's all they got. So, yeah, Texans defense, Colby, I know you're listening. Not very good. Or, struggles. So I feel like they need to throw the ball a lot, and that just means that much more. If Nico Collins can stay healthy, and there's our key, then that's where he's definitely worth that pick. But you're not going to get him at a discount. Like I said, he's early second round ADP wise, and he's not going to. He's not some guy who's going to fall very far, but some guy who has. And I might be, outside of Garrett Wilson's mom and Justin Fields, maybe the only guy that's excited about Garrett Wilson. I just feel like this guy just needs a break, and maybe this is it with the quarterback. Yes, I know Justin Fields is not a great quarterback from a throwing standpoint, but he was the college quarterback for Garrett Wilson at Ohio State. So if anybody knows this kid and knows his tendencies and knows how he operates, it's going to be Justin Fields. Of course, Justin Fields needs to stay healthy. Wilson was 10th in total points. Consistency, though, not there last year. But we all know why. Aaron Rodgers was throwing every pass to Devante Adams. I mean, Garrett Wilson was an afterthought for most of the year. He's had bad quarterbacks since the beginning, but, he was 71% consistent the year before. But again, 25th in total points because they didn't throw the ball a lot. I feel like this is the year that Wilson can break out. He's playing for the big contract, right? I don't think he's signed anything. Has he signed? No, he did sign a big contract. I take that back. But I just feel like this is a guy, and he's going end of round 2. Still quarterback 12, but later in round 2, sometimes early round 3. I just think he's got potential to be that top 10 kind of guy. And I think Fields can get him there. I think he'll treat him like people do Neighbors. It's just, or Nico Collins, it's him first. There is no second. If you can name the second wide receiver, good luck that you win a prize at the local bar in your trivia contest. I think it's Josh Reynolds, but that's not saying much. So, guys, let me have it. Is Garrett Wilson worth being a wide receiver 1, or are you thinking that this offense is a disaster waiting to happen and you're not in? So, James, we'll go to you. Or I don't know. Yeah, we'll go to James. I don't know who would laugh. Forgot who was laughing.
We talked about this with running backs, and I told you how I feel about Breece Hall and the different push there and doing all that stuff. You're talking about it's Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, and these guys are absolutely capable of carrying offenses. Both of them can do things. Garrett Wilson's going to get a ton of targets, and he's another one of those guys that came out. We all expected him to be extremely good and do certain things, and guess what? He's had 147, 168, and 154 targets in 3 years. Mm-hmm. He has never had less than 83 receptions in a year. He's never had less than 1,000 yards in a year. And that's with this dysfunctional Jets offense that we're talking about. They've never had a quarterback. Then you hit a huge point. Guess what? His college buddy quarterback is about to come and play quarterback for him, that when things go crazy, he's going to say, I'm going to chuck the ball to my boy over there. He's down there somewhere. And more importantly, a lot of people don't think Justin Fields can support. Like I said, he actually checked down at a way higher rate than people thought. So Breece Hall's good. He also is capable of supporting a top 12 wide receiver. DJ Moore blew up the year that he started in Chicago. When he locks in on those guys, I think the Jets offense, I think they're looking at it and saying, if Fields can run for us, open up plays, get the ball to Hall, get the ball to DJ Moore. I mean, not DJ Moore, but Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson.
Yeah. Same player at this point. Wilson may be more talented than Moore was, and Moore put up a ton of points. So I'm in on Garrett Wilson here. I love it.
Okay. Ron?
So Josh Reynolds is the 2. Alan Lazard is the 3. Malachi Corley is the 4. So what do I win with that?
You win a shave. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't want it. You can keep it.
Okay,
I don't want it. So, I mean, not much else to add there. I mean, he's the guy.
Well, Alan Lazard will be going to.
Yeah, I'll say Alan Lazard will be going to Pittsburgh.
Follow
too long, so
Aaron Rodgers at Pittsburgh anyway. So.
Yeah,
he'll be in Pittsburgh soon. You're right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it won't be long.
So there's nobody else to throw to. I mean, it's his guy from college. I don't have a lot to add to that, but it's going to be a ton of targets, and as long as he stays healthy, the targets are going to be there. I just hope it's Justin Fields that's in the quarterback spot. You got Tyrod Taylor, which Tyrod Taylor's been a decent quarterback for a while, but it's got to be Justin Fields. I mean, there's not really a whole lot of tight end, Breece Hall again with checkdowns and all that, but I don't have much to add. Garrett Wilson, just because of volume, I don't mind him here. Is he my favorite guy in this range? Not necessarily, but I don't think it's all bad if he's the guy you get.
I got you. I agree. All right, Drake London is number 10. Last year, finally kind of had his breakout season, which was partly Kirk Cousins, and then Michael Penix came in and filled in the role. And Drake didn't really slow down much. He kept his consistency. In fact, the last 6 games, London was perfect, 6 for 6 in clutch games, so all the way through the fantasy playoffs. Ends the season 4th in total points, 11th in consistency, X-consistency also at 11th. I mean, I didn't see enough of Penix to know what I've got, but I do know that he loves to throw to Drake London, and that's all we care about in this case. Ron, are you in on Drake too? Do you like the Drake? We all love the Drake.
I love the Drake. Absolutely love the Drake. I love. Don't know if I love the Michael Penix yet, but we'll see. I mean, I loved him when he was when he's. You watch those. I'm from Indiana, so I watch those teams, and people forget before he was at Washington, he was showing out at IU of all places, and then transferred to Washington and had the big season and parlayed that into a top 10 pick. But I think the talent's there. I think that he's got the capability to do it. But it's another case of kind of like what we'll see. With a couple of these guys we talked about, I mean, Darnell Mooney's there, kind of a downfield threat. Ray Armstrong's kind of a little bit of a chain mover guy. I don't know what we're ever going to see out of Kyle Pitts, but I mean, he's a big physical target, 6'4", 213. He doesn't miss games either. Didn't miss a game last year. I think he missed one the previous year, but just always in the lineup.
One game in 3 years. So
there you go. So you're going to get you're going to get games out of him. And a couple of guys that we've talked about here, including Nico Collins, who I love so much. You can't really say that about him. So I think the targets are going to be there. I think that they play in a division where it seems like when they play Carolina, when they play the Bucs, whenever they play whoever's in that division, New Orleans, it seems like those are a little bit high-scoring games as well. So that always benefits him. Good weather, indoor stadiums. There's a lot to like here about Drake London. I'm in.
James, you in too?
It's hard not to be with Drake London. Like you said, his targets keep going up every year. His catch percentage keeps going up every year. But, again, if we're going to ping Justin Jefferson because J.J. McCarthy is going to be his quarterback, I'm gonna have to ping London a little bit here. Yeah. Like, a small sample size last year looked great and all, but you can't tell me that a team with Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier doing the whole group that they've got, they've actually got Pitts there too. And I know we hate to hear that, fantasy people, we can't stand because he's let us down so many years in a row now. But at the same time, there's a few mouths to feed there, a few things to go on. But, I'd like to see Penix lock on to London, and I think he's got a chance to be a dominant wide receiver. But if Penix doesn't pan out, what do they do?
They go back to Kirk Cousins. I mean, that's all they got, which, again, he didn't look bad when he was healthy and then got hurt. And so we'll see. All right, well, interestingly enough, if you look at the numbers, and I just kind of noticed this as you guys were talking, Drake London versus Brian Thomas Jr. were 0.8 fantasy points difference. They were both exactly 13 to 17 for 76% consistency. So they basically tied for 11th. And their exit consistency is off. The differs by 0.03. So basically, they're exact same people. And Brian Thomas was Drake London for sure in Jacksonville because that's all they had. And it just they threw to him a lot. It didn't matter who was quarterbacking. Whether it was Trevor Lawrence or what was it New England's former quarterback
Mac Jones.
Yeah, Mac Jones. So again, he's quarterback proof, but they drafted Travis Hunter. Do you guys still feel that Brian Thomas is a top 12? I mean, I've got him 11th, but but he is ADP wise wide receiver 7. What do you guys think? Ron, we'll start with you. Brian Thomas Jr., top 12, top 7, not either? Where are you going with that?
I can make a better argument for top 12 than top 7. I mean, when I look at these guys, I think there's probably 7 guys that I would take above him. That's not to say that I don't like Brian Thomas. I'm kind of partial to him. I got him in one of my Dynasty leagues last year, had a lower pick, and it worked out really well for me. He's probably my top receiver now. So again, from that LSU receiver factory, again, I don't know if we really have. I mean, do we know what Trevor Lawrence is yet? I mean, we're still kind of waiting. Like, is this it? I think it kind of is. But again, the targets are there. I mean, you said it. There's not a lot that separates him from Drake London stat wise. I'd like to see that catch percentage go up a little bit. 133 targets, he hauled in 87 of them. I'd like to see that get up around 100 or so. But I think the targets are going to be there. Again, they're going to be playing in a division where Houston's going to have to throw it. I don't think Houston's going to be great on defense. They have a couple decent corners, but my Colts, not really sure what you got there. They shored up their secondary a little bit. We'll see how that goes. Tennessee, again, Mike Vrabel, I think, can coach up anybody to play defense, but I think there's going to be some higher scoring games there than you think. Mm-hmm. But again, the targets are going to be there. Travis Hunter doesn't really bother me a whole lot. I think that they're going to need to lean on Brian Thomas as Travis Hunter kind of figures it out, and as they kind of try to figure out what that looks like with him on offense, him on defense. What's he playing? Is he a corner? Is he a receiver? You don't know. They do have Brenton Strange at tight end, so he get a few targets here and there, but beyond him and Travis Hunter, you got Diamond Brown, you got a few guys that are just kind of guys. So I think, again, by default, he's going to have to be the number one. He's going to have to carry the pass offense.
Well, James is flashing light signals behind him. I think it was SOS. I'm not sure, but it's getting dark earlier for you.
It is 100%.
We're going to have to move our show up in time so that he can be outside and do this.
He looks like he's getting ready to tell us a ghost story.
Yeah, it's like,
I am about to tell you a ghost story of Brian Thomas being the number one receiver, but no, and all jokes aside, Travis Hunter is an extremely talented player. We know that Travis Hunter is gonna revolutionize things, but I don't see him taking anything away from Brian Thomas Jr. Brian Thomas Jr. is a target hog. He knows what he's gonna do. They know what he's gonna do. He was in double-digit touchdowns last year, and I think Ron, you touched on it. Like they got a few interesting pieces around there that might catch the ball, but nobody that's gonna really take anything away from him, unless we get like week 3 news or week 4 news where they're like, you know what? We're about to play some high-scoring offenses. We're going to play Travis Hunter strictly as a wide receiver. If that doesn't happen, I mean, even if that happens, they might be challenging for, best duo wide receiver in the NFL. It could happen, from a prospect. But at that point, he had 130 targets, 130-plus targets last year, 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns as a rookie. If it wasn't for Malik Neighbors, wasn't for the last few years of rookies we've seen blow up, that's insane for a rookie. Mm-hmm. And that's with Trevor Lawrence not even being some sort of super stud quarterback. So, Brian Thomas deserves to be in the top 12, and some people will interchange him with some of those guys that we've already talked about.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's again one of those guys that's in that group that I'm just like, man, there's so many others that I feel like I trust more. Not that Brian Thomas maybe isn't talented, but it's just that trust factor of, can I pick A.J. Brown? Can I pick this next guy, Devante Adams, who's 12th on my list? Now, His ADP is round 3. So if you want him, I've certainly have teams already that I've drafted, a top guy like Chase, Jefferson, Lamb, whoever, and have Devante Adams as my number 2 wide receiver. I just feel like last year he was 13th in total points, missed 3 games. His consistency was only 64%, but again, he really didn't kick it in until he went over to the Jets with Rodgers because he was, I just think that in the Rams situation with the Rams offense and Puka Nacua on the other side, I don't see how he doesn't. If he plays all the games, he's going to be top 12 in total points. Consistency, I don't think he's going to be in that 80% or higher like these other guys. But if he's 75% and he's top 12 in total points, that's a pretty good spot. And it just seems like 13, 14, 15, it's all these question marks. You got JSN, DJ Moore, McConkey, Higgins, who's the number 2. There's just so many little quirks where we know what we get with Adams. He's talented. Yeah, he's a little bit older than the other guys, but he just seems to get the job done. And, he seems revitalized. I've heard a lot of positive things about him, being excited about camp, being on a team that likes to throw, is good at throwing the ball. And I just feel like that's why I've got him at 12. James, agree or disagree? Do you have him in your top 12?
We talked about this earlier, and he moved up and did some stuff here and in yours. And every time I'm drafting and doing stuff, no matter what league I'm in, I find myself seeing Devante Adams kind of drop down a little bit. And I can't help but want to click on him. And then I look at stats and I look at things and I say, yeah, I should have clicked on him probably a round earlier than I see him falling to. The crazy part is, like you said, he's now – this is insane at his stage in his career, especially with as good as he's been. He might be the wide receiver 2 on his team.
Yeah, right.
I mean, when is it? Maybe the last time that happened was what? Was it Jordy Nelson or somebody was ahead of him in Green Bay or something like that?
Yeah, right.
So, you're talking about a guy who commands targets, does a ton of things. I mean, the last time he had less than 100 targets was 10 years ago. So, I mean, and he didn't look like he lost a step last year. He actually, in points per game, was in the top 10 right there with Mike Evans, right behind Nico Collins, people like that. And I don't know how you can fade him on an offense with Sean McVay leading the offense, Matthew Stafford playing quarterback, Puka on the other side of him. And I think Ron touched on this with Puka earlier. I mean, outside of them, or you guys did, outside of Devante, and that's a super narrow receiving tree that both of them, the 2 top receivers, as long as they stay healthy, are going to get 140, 150 targets, maybe more. Who knows? But, that you can't fade him at that point. There's no way. So, yeah, he creeps up into my top 12. That's a good call.
Ron, Devante's almost as old as you now. Do you still have him in your top 12?
Yeah, he's got to be right.
Weird, though, but
it's true. It's true. He's got a little ways to go, but he's got to be right there. And the thing is too, we need to be a little quieter because I feel like that there's not enough people talking about him, and I'm hoping that it stays that way because I will gladly have him on my team where I can get him. And it's again, James kind of touched on it too. I mean, the dude's been over 1,000 yards, every season. Since 2018, he's had one season where he lacked 3 yards being at 1,000. He's pretty consistent as far as, when he's in a good situation, he seems to be a little healthier as well. He had those mysterious hammy problems when he was with the Raiders, and those all suddenly got cleared up when he moved. Just
like Randy Moss.
Yeah, so I'm hoping. Yeah, it's a little weird. So I'm hoping that those hammy problems are okay in LA with that warm weather and all that. But we talked about why we like Puka Nacua. It's the same reason we like Devante Adams. I mean, those guys, you got to count for one, you got to count for the other, and I don't want to say people have forgotten about him, but I just don't feel like that people are on board enough. So I'm fine with that. I think I'd rather wait a little bit and get him.
I'm touched with that Raiders days. Did y'all see that the video circulating around where he's on the sideline talking about how many times he got hit because of Jimmy Garoppolo throwing him into traffic? Which is ironic.
Was that in the wide receivers show on Netflix?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
now it's got he's got Garoppolo as potentially the starter, but with Stafford if he is hurt, and
Oh gosh, I
he's
didn't even think about that. You're right. He's the backup. Oh god.
and Devante Adams said I need to retire or get the hell out of it, do something, just leave because I can't stand this guy getting me hit, and now he might be a starting quarterback,
Yeah,
so
let's hope not.
yeah, 100%.
All right. Well, guys, thank you. Great job, folks. That's our wide receiver ones. Take a look at it. Remember this stuff. Remember the consistency because some of these guys are higher because of the consistency, and that's why we have them there. It's not always about total points, as we've talked about with some of these guys. So, Ron, I'll let you go first. Tell everybody where they can find you. You guys are cranking out some amazing articles on the Big Guy site, but tell everybody where they can find you everywhere.
So over at BigGuyFantasySports.com, I've been switching up a little bit, looking at some of the different ADP points as far as quarterbacks, and I've been comparing some of the, I did a top end comparison, kind of middle of the road, and a couple later guys, just guys that have the similar ADP. Who's going to get you more consistency? I'm going to start on some running backs this coming week, and haven't been here for a little while, so
Got to have the
wanted
card.
to
The
bring the
juice.
football card of the weekend here. I want to go a little old school, and went with a little old school OJ Simpson. Aside from all the other whatever you want to call it in his post playing career, dude was a problem when he had the football, and so a little homage there to the NFL player OJ Simpson.
And what perfect timing with the new Naked Gun coming out this Friday. That little clip of them crying in front of their dad's pictures, and then the last guy just kind of goes, that at that point I'm like, I'm watching this. I would have watched the movie
Oh, it's gonna be
anyway.
good.
And I've heard some great things from the reviews. That tells you something. Like people are like, this is the comedy that you all had in the 70s and 80s from Naked Gun, Airplane, all that stuff that we all need today, and it's that good. Everybody's loved the. I mean, when reviews say that, because usually they're pretty rough, especially on kind of corny comedies like that. But everybody that I've read so far is like, this movie is freaking hysterical. So I cannot wait to go see it. So, James, let's follow up with you. Where are you at? You cranking them out like there's no tomorrow. This guy's just great stuff out there. Him and Ron, Colby, Phil, everybody. And I'm going to get back into it, I promise, once this expo's over next week. So we'll get back in the flow and start getting ready for the opening day of the season. So.
All right, yeah, man, I appreciate all you guys. Like I said, this entire group working extremely hard, doing extremely great content, some of the best stuff I've ever seen. And you can catch me at JKeezy on X, and anything you want to talk about there, feel free to ask. And tomorrow I got a new article that should launch tomorrow morning on the Big Guy Fantasy Sports site. So check that out. And if not, hey, join up. Check out all of our consistency tools. They're the best in the business.
Gotcha. Yeah. And hey, probably when this comes out tomorrow, guess what? Happy first exhibition game of the year, because Canton will be lighting up for the Hall of Fame game, which will feature absolutely no starters whatsoever in the game. But that's okay. We're just happy to have football back.
Did I catch a Trey Lance is starting tomorrow?
Oh, okay, for the Chargers?
Yeah. So,
yay.
Are we going to get a Hendon Hooker, Trey Lance starting quarterback game? That'd be fantastic.
Yeah,
right?
well, that'd be
That
exciting.
sounds pretty good. I like that.
We might have to watch.
I was going to say I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at that at all. I actually sounds entertaining to a degree. And if we get football,
will we see any O'Marion Hampton on the field? That's we've got Najee Harris and Hampton. Najee's back at practice. I doubt if he plays in this game, but maybe we'll see a little bit of Hampton just to see what he can do. That would be kind of fun. On the Lions side, I mean, again, I doubt we'll see any of the starters, but it's always just like I said, just happy to have football back. It just means we're that close to the season starting. Expo's a week after that, so if you guys haven't got your tickets, make sure you get them. Get all registered. We're cutting off tickets online sales on Friday. So if you haven't got your tickets, get them now, because it's $25 more at the door. Don't be that person. Don't be the one that says, I didn't know that. You know it. You should be watching the show anyway. All right. For Ron, for James, I'm Bob Lung. Take care. God bless. We'll see you soon.